Hi, I'm Anne, and I'm going to share my Plexus testimony with you today. Um, this is my 5th try at doing this video without crying, and I also noticed in some of the videos I had really lovely blue painter's tape on the wall, and I think I have turned my computer enough that you can't see that anymore. This is not Wonka vision, this is the real thing. So, welcome to my world. Let me begin with, let's just dive right into when I started to fall apart. I was working and loving pretty much every aspect of my life. And I got mono, was diagnosed with mono, and from there I just never got better. Nobody could really figure out what was going on with me. I went through all kinds of testing and doctors, and while I was going through all the testing and doctors and trying different medications to see if we could resolve some of these symptoms, and when I say resolve, I mean cover them up, because that's really what they were doing. While I was going through that, I was literally physically falling apart. I would show up at work and I couldn't open the doors because my fingers were all locked up. So I would get it open just enough to stick my foot in there, and then I would use the rest of my body to open it. And there was one day in particular that was my absolute lowest point. I was getting gas at the gas station. This is the part where I fall apart because I can't hold it together. Getting gas at the gas station, and my fingers locked up around the nozzle. And I poured gasoline all over myself and my car and my shoes, my clothes. And it was so embarrassing. I had to use my other hand to pry my fingers off. And I was so embarrassed it took me hours to tell my husband. I wanted to throw my clothes away. I just wanted to pretend like it hadn't happened. There are multiple other things I could tell you that are very similar to that I went through, but I'm not going to go through all of them because I want to get to the guts of this testimony. After I'd tried multiple doctors and medications, I still struggled with 3.5 things. The first thing was the muscle spasms, like I just told you about. The second thing was I felt like I had the flu 24 hours a day. I never had a fever, but my entire body hurt all the time. And the last piece was chronic fatigue. And I'm sure you've heard people talk about their chronic fatigue before. Chronic fatigue. See, this is real TV. This is the real thing. If you've never heard, or if you've probably heard somebody talk about chronic fatigue, and you wanted to sympathize, but you just couldn't really understand what that felt like. Let me tell you what that feels like. It feels like being in your bed, trying to sit up, and somebody is going like this against you. They're just pushing against you with everything they have, and you can't sit up. And then it also feels like you're carrying heavy, heavy things on your body. It makes you sag under the weight. And you feel like you're walking underwater. So you just can't ever get traction. You never feel like you just never get into a stride. You just always feel like you're stuck under that water. The little half thing that I also dealt with was immune issues. And I went through a tonsillectomy in my 30s. I do not recommend it unless you absolutely need it, which I did. That was brutal and horrible and awful to recover from because my body was already in such horrible shape. So now we enter into the world of Plexus. I had gotten to the point where I was on regular medications and a ridiculous amount of vitamins, but I still felt the same. It really was not making that much of a difference. And I had friends that were saying, you've got to try this stuff. Try this, try this. I heard a story just like yours. There's somebody else just like you. She felt the same thing. And I had already decided in my mind, there was nothing that was going to help me. I tried diets. I tried expensive therapies, expensive pain lotions, medications I already told you about, all kinds of doctor's appointments. And it wasn't helping. I had a very small, quiet life after being the boisterous voice in the room for so many years. I don't like to be the life of a party, but I certainly like to laugh loud and enjoy it and really just soak it all in. And I wasn't doing that. I avoided every party. I ignored text messages from friends. I isolated myself, and I caused a lot of stress in relationships. And I finally tried Plexus out of complete defiance. Sounds so dumb, but it's true. I tried Plexus out of defiance. I told a really close group of my girlfriends. I said, y'all, I'm gonna try this. I don't think it's gonna work, but if I lose some weight while I'm trying it, good for me. And I told Jana, my upline in Plexus, I said, I'm gonna try this and I'm gonna show you. And even though we were probably texting or talking over the phone, I'm sure I was waving my finger. I'm gonna show you that this is not gonna work for me, and I'm gonna get my money back after 60 days. And that's it. I followed it to the T. I started with Slim and Accelerator, followed it to the T because I didn't want anybody to be able to come back and say, hey, this didn't work for you because you didn't take it consistently. This didn't work for you because you weren't taking your water. This didn't work for you because you weren't taking it the right way, or whatever the case is. So I made sure I followed it to the T so that I could come back and say, see, I told you, I'm doomed. This is never going to help me. And that's such a horrible place to get to, but that's where I was. And after about 15 days, I started to be able to get out of bed by myself. And after about 21 days, I was taking a shower, I was washing my hair, I was getting a couple groceries. After about 30 or 40 days, I was cleaning my house, and I was aching to go do something, anything. What errand can I run? What can I clean? What can I organize? What can I do? I have all this energy. I feel so great. What can I do? But my husband and I were terrified it was going to stop working. I started taking Plexus in January of 2014. It's now May of 2015, and it has not stopped working for me, and I don't think it's going to stop working for me. This video is for those of you who are watching from your beds, on your phones or your iPads. Maybe you have a smart TV. You know who you are. And if you're watching this and you know somebody who is in that situation, please share this with them. My prayer for you is that you would try one more thing. I know you've tried the medications. I know you've tried the therapies, and the list goes on, and I know you have. I did too. Please try one more thing. Take it consistently. Drink 80 to 100 ounces of water a day. Let it work in your body. You can go to my website, www.deepintheheartofplexus.com, and you can print out the ingredients in every single thing that we have. My recommendation is that you not start the way that I did. I started with Slim and Accelerator Plus. I think you should start with Slim, ProBio 5, and BioCleanse. If you have immune system issues like I do, where you're constantly getting sick with actual viruses and infections, please also get the X Factor multivitamin. I wish I could have started with those, but I couldn't afford all of that from the get-go, and honestly, I didn't believe in it anyway, so I never would have spent the money. This is an investment on the front end of your health. This is not the triage on the back end, which is all the medications that I'm not going to name that I was on, and the therapies, and on and on and on. That's triage on the back end. You've already got an emergency situation, and now you're trying to triage how to help yourself. Invest on the front end. It will make all the difference in the world. It truly will. Seriously, my prayer for you is that you will try one more thing. I did, not with the right spirit, but the products don't care what your spirit is. As long as you're consistent and you're giving it a good solid try, you might be surprised with the results.